So for those of you that are old enough, you will remember the Outkast song, "So Fresh and So Clean, Clean. Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh and so clean, clean." That song inspired this video because I can't stop saying that in the spring and summer when I want to feel fresh and clean. I've got other videos that have talked about clean and soapy fragrances. Today's So Fresh and So Clean, Clean video is going to focus on fragrances that have maybe minty notes or notes that kind of give you that same sort of cool, refreshed, fresh and clean feeling, especially as we get deeper into the heat and humidity. And if you're in the desert, you got that dry heat. But that dry heat, it still hits, okay? People are always like, if you go, look, I went out to Las Vegas last summer, and if you are subscribed to my other channel, you may remember my horror story about being out in, what the heck is the name of that park? But my husband and I had the brilliant idea. We were out in Vegas last summer for vacation and decided to drive out to Red Rock. Is that what it's called? I gotta look it up. 1 minute. Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area. And we decided to go in August, like a couple of dodo birds, and decided to hike up into those canyons. I was dying. Why did I bring that up? Because desert heat may be dry, but it still gets you. Anyway, as we go into whatever kind of heat in the northern hemisphere you're heading into, maybe these fragrances will give you that sort of like toothpaste clean kind of feeling where you want to feel fresh and uplifted and vibrant and youthful. So let's get into it. I think I have 10, no honorable mentions today. I may drop a few more in the pinned comment below that I think of after this video. Let's go. Let's kick off with my scent of the day, which I have an odd obsession, not only with this fragrance, but now with this house. And it's from Veronique Gabai. Love these bottles. I think they're just so classy, so gorgeous. This one is called Vert Desir or Vert Desir. Whatever accent you want to use. If you're French, say it how you want to say it. I'm going to say it how it looks to me. And that is Vert Desir. If you look on the Veronique Gabai website, she highlights lemon, mint, absinthe, and cedarwood as the notes that she wants you to pick up out of this. Available in perfumery, and sometimes that means a lot of natural types of ingredients, components, etc., that may degrade more over time as you wear the fragrance or kind of fade off, and not having those sort of chemical fixatives and all of that. I don't really care because this fragrance is so beautiful in that spear minty, fresh kind of way. It is my scent of the day. Did I say that already? Because, my memory isn't what it used to be. I forget things, but it is my scent of the day. And it is just fabulous. It is the quintessential fresh 100-degree weather type of fragrance. If you want to smell fresh and clean in the highest of heat, this is a good one to reach for. It is absolutely gorgeous, very smoothly blended. I don't know why I say that. Like, I don't even know what perfume blending means. We all say that here on YouTube. Like, we have any freaking idea how fragrances are created. These people out here, we all know what we're talking about. But I'm going to say that it is smooth. Let me say that instead of smoothly blended. Nix the blend part. It is smooth. It is a very smooth smelling, round, spearminty type of scent. And it's worth every penny in my book. One of my favorite from her house, Vert Desir. This fragrance smells very much to me like spearmint gum. I love opening up a little piece of spearmint gum, popping it in my mouth and getting that sort of just refreshing. You'll hear that word a lot throughout this video. Refreshing, uplifting, bright, light, fresh, crisp, clean type of scent. It's like toothpastey in a lot of ways. And there is just a general sort of like, if you've ever crushed mint and there's another herb, basil, if you've ever crushed those in your fingers, between your fingers, and then smelled, imagine crushing both of those together, smell that in your, like on your fingers. That is what this smells like, the oil of those two things for me. Can I say, I know what absinthe smells like, but maybe there's a little bit of that. And the cedarwood, I can't say I pick up like a woodiness of this, or in this rather. The fragrance isn't the longest lasting, but that's the case with a lot of freshies for summertime. Those fragrances that you would wear typically in really high heat that do well there tend to not last the longest unless they have certain kinds of chemicals added or fixatives or whatever to create longevity. Veronique Gabai prides herself on using some of these sort of best ingredients. Next is a fragrance that has been compared quite a bit to Veronique Gabai's Vert Desir. I do want to share that these bottles are 85 mils, and so what is that? 2.85 ounces. just about 3 ounces, but not quite. And these are at the, I think, $260 range. So pretty pricey. You can get these on So Avant Garde and use my code Veronica10. Yes, friends, the code has changed on So Avant Garde for affiliates to the person's name plus the number 10 rather than 20% off. I too am lamenting that. It was a business decision on their part. And I am happy. I'm happy with So Avant Garde and happy to share with you my Veronica10 code ongoing. So please use that from now on instead of Veronica20 for 10% off of this. Or you can just search the internet and see where else you can find this. Sometimes I'll see this on, is it the Derm store? I think so. It's the Derm store, DERM, like Derm Skin. And they'll have this on there. And sometimes they do 20% off sales if you'd like to wait for the additional percentage off. But anyway, this is a little bit on the pricier side, worth every penny. And this has been compared to the next fragrance, which is Herba Fresca from the Aqua Allegoria line from Guerlain. I thought that this might have been discontinued. It is not. It's still sitting out there on the Guerlain website. This is an eau de toilette concentration, whereas this is eau de parfum, which, let me pause and say again, as I have said in other videos, you cannot judge the longevity and strength of a fragrance based on the concentration that it is. All you need to think about when you hear eau de cologne versus eau de toilette versus eau de parfum versus extrait is the percentage of oil, perfume oils that are in the fragrance versus the other sort of base ingredients that give it the volume. That's really what it means. So going up in terms of intensity doesn't necessarily always correlate to the fragrance being stronger, longer lasting, more projecting, and all of those things that people seem to really be caring about these days if they're going to spend big dollars. Why am I bringing all of that up? I think in terms of the quality of materials that are in here, it's definitely worth the price and you get the beautiful bottle experience, which I love. This one is similar in size. This one is 85 mils, 75 mils, very similar in scent. And this one is $115 on the Guerlain website. And not this size bottle, friends. I think this is a 1 ounce. I bought a little one. Yes. So imagine that this is doubled in a half. Times 2.5 of the whatever the math is there. Goodness gracious. This is why I didn't teach math. I taught social studies once upon a yesteryear. $115. And you can find it on discount websites too. I think it's on FragranceNet and other places like that. These two fragrances are very similar. I find this one to have smoother edges than this one. This one is a little tiny bit more sharp and not in off-putting ways at all. You might not even notice the difference if you tried them side by side. I do have them on here side by side. This one is a slight bit even, crisper, and lighter in terms of the texture of the fragrance than Vert Desir, which has a little bit more maybe depth and in I don't know, like weight to it is a way I might describe it. This also has a little bit of a more prominent citrus. I believe, let me look at the notes here. Goodness, I had to scroll into infinity to find the notes for this, but it's a lemon note that gives it a little bit more zing and lightness than the Vert Desir. On the website, it says this smells like cut grass. I guess if I imagine that, yes, but to me, it's a much more minty scent than it is grassy, which is sort of green. I find Vert Desir to be a little bit more green, more perhaps having the air that you get in a fresh cut grass park. What am I trying to say? If you're in an area, where someone has mowed their lawn, the smell in the air, not the actual smell of the grass. I'm taking this too far. This smells more grassy than this. That's it, period. But this is also very spearminty, which as this is just straight up. And this one has a little bit more like basil scent. I don't even think basil's a note, but I pick up something in that herby, herbaceous direction. This one is a little bit more minty and slightly lemony. So that's the main difference. Neither one lasts long. I find actually that this one, the Vert Desir, lasts a little bit longer than Herba Fresca, but you get about a half a day. What I mean by that is like in the 4-ish hour range out of these. And you can very comfortably douse yourself in either one of these without anyone around you being offended. Whew, I spent a long time on this. Let's keep going. So I mentioned before that this next one would be in this video because it is a recent very big love for me. I don't know why I hesitated so long to buy this fragrance. I think I saw some reviews that it was maybe screechy. I don't find it screechy at all. This is Highline from Bond Number 9. And we've talked about Highline in New York. Look it up online. Google it if you're interested in knowing the origin of the name, which is kind of a cool concept. So on the Bond Number 9 website, interestingly, this is their description of this. So this is going to be the last, maybe the last grassy scent, and I'll move on to other kinds of so fresh and so clean types of fragrances. They describe it as the scent of wildflowers, green grasses, and urban renewal. What the heck does urban renewals smell like? Come on, bond number 9, you're stretching. Prominent notes here, grass, 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 and more grass. This does smell very much like freshly cut grass. I think this is supposed to also smell a little bit dewy and aquatic. And I do get that there's just sort of like watery nature to this on top of the fresh cut grass smell. It is really nostalgic. It reminds me very much of Gap Grass. If you wore that back in the day, that body spray. And somebody told me, one of y'all kind souls out there said that Gap Grass is back on the market. Guess who's back? Gap Grass. That was corny as hell, but I'm a corny person. Oh gosh, this is so fresh and happy and fun for spring. Another sort of bright, light, never going to offend anyone kind of fragrance. I have gotten lots of compliments on this. I don't get a lot of compliments on fragrances, shockingly, even though I wear them every day. But then again, y'all know I work from home. So I rarely get out in that public space to get compliments from other people. I went to a work event last week and I wore a number of fragrances that I just knew people were going to be like, you smell nice. And no one said a damn word. I was sad because I chose those fragrances very carefully so as not to offend, but yet also be noticed in the space. Like I wanted someone to be like, you smell nice. What is that? Not a single soul said a single word about what I smelled like. So either they didn't smell me or I didn't smell as good as I thought. I'm not really sure. This one gets compliments, but not from I haven't worn this around colleagues. I got to test it out there. It's nice. This one has a nice projection off of you. This one is nicely lasting. You're going to get about a workday's worth out of this. Maybe some folks get longer. I've seen some people say that this has really incredible longevity on them. It does smell like grass and aquatic nature and like the freshest of florals, like a baby bouquet that has not had the chance to age yet. Some of that sort of very light floral white aspect, maybe even like something in the lily of the valley direction where it smells kind of like bright floral soapy-ish. Doesn't smell soapy, but that kind of floral aspect to it, but mostly that fresh green grass scent with this aquatic nature. Fan-freaking-tastic. If you are watching your budget closely, but you still want to smell so fresh and so clean for summer, listen to me. Check out this line. This is 4711 Aqua Colonia. And they have a whole line of fragrances that are freshies. They're just beautiful freshies. And I have one that is like beachy. There's others in the line too, but those are the ones that stood out to me. I found these, I think, in bulk on Fragrance Net or something. Or did I go to the website? I don't remember. I'll link all these fragrances below, by the way, where you can purchase them. And if I have discount codes, I will give you those down below as well. But I purchased a bunch of these and have no regrets. They are very much in the body spray direction. So think about them as like Bath and Body Works plus. I like that these are still like a cologne concentration. Are they? Am I making that up? Yes. I did not make that up. This is an eau de cologne. So think of this as like an enhanced body spray. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what this is called. This is called Lime and Nutmeg. And I had a hard time deciding because I have, I think, 4 or 5 or 6, maybe even from this line, this house. And I like them all. They're all really fresh and youthful and happy for summertime. Some have maybe more like an orange direction. Maybe others have a more aquatic feel. This is Lime and Nutmeg. So if you like the idea of a fresh, spicy fragrance that is in the citrus direction, if that's your zhuzh, here you go. You can douse your entire body with this. You can spray your linens, you can spray your hair, you can spray your clothing, and walk out of the door feeling fresh, spicy, clean, fun, ready for the day. It does have a slight cologne feel, and I'm using the term cologne in that sentence as in men's fragrance. You know, us old heads still call men's fragrance colognes. Yes, I understand that that's not technically accurate, but I'm an 80s kid and that's what the heck we do. And we call women's fragrances perfumes. Now, you know, we call them all fragrances. And, you know, I love a good fragrance that is unisex. It can be worn by men, women, whoever wants to smell either feminine or masculine, or maybe right in the middle and unisex. You know, we like it all. So this fragrance is not very long lasting. But what I want to say about it is, like I mentioned, you get a really pronounced happy lime, not the lime in the coconut lime, but just a straight up lime. Like when you freshly squeeze lime maybe into your water, that nice zingy, tart smell that kind of makes your mouth water. You get that in this fragrance along with some nice kitchen spices. I mean, it's nutmeg, but you know, do you pick up nutmeg specifically? I would not. I would not smell this and go, I smell nutmeg. No, but I can smell like a fresh spiciness to it. So that's really all that this is. I think maybe it has a little bit of woodiness in the base. It would be for those of you that enjoy unisex scents the most, because I don't think this is a very feminine fragrance at all. I don't think it's highly masculine, but I do think it's like it has a leg in that masculine territory. And y'all, these fragrances, I think I got this bottle for under $20. And then you can buy them big. I think they go up to 6 ounces. Check them out. Really affordable fragrances. And they're nice. They're very pleasant, very easy. You know how we talk about people being easy on the eyes? This is easy on the nose. It's so like pleasant and palatable, and others around you will enjoy these as well. I'm really enjoying the next one, and it was a very big surprise. I picked it up did I pick it up or was it sent to me? I don't remember if So Avant-Garde sent it to me or if I paid for this one. But anyway, it is called Hydra. And I like this line of fragrances because they have unique bottles. They all have this shape, but they're different colors. And then the tops they have artwork that evoke for you what the fragrance is supposed to smell like. So can we talk for a second about my recent obsession with finding a proper watermelon fragrance? I have tried a lot, and I really so appreciate the suggestions that you all have given me, including a lot of you suggested, this is a little bird walk. Excuse me. Is it bird walk or dog walk? Bird walk. When you go off on a tangent. I'm going off on a tangent, not a dog walk. That's a whole nother adventure. We're bird walking. When I've asked for watermelon fragrances, a good number of you have suggested Solstice from Andrea Mac, which I like a lot. I've tried that fragrance a number of times. It is nice. And it does have like a watermelon rind smell, like the shell of the watermelon in the opening. And then that sort of starts to fade back. And it's still a beautiful fragrance later on in the fragrance experience. But the watermelon piece of it, first of all, it's a little bit on the green end for me and doesn't hang around long enough for me to really enjoy it as a watermelon fragrance. Why am I telling you all of this? Because this fragrance has a very characteristic watermelon and mint note combined, and it's the closest that I've gotten to the watermelon scent that I'm looking for, but isn't quite there. I still enjoy this greatly and want to recommend it to you all to try out, but I'm still in search of a true watermelon scent. And I just want to be clear because I need your help. I'm looking for, when you first cut into a watermelon that is ripe, and you take that juicy first bite of the meat of the watermelon, and that juiciness, the sugariness of it, the sort of aquatic, watery nature of it combines with it touches your taste buds and then goes deep down into the heart of you, like your soul. It hits you right here in the feels, your summer little kid feels. That's the watermelon I'm looking for. I'm not looking for Jolly Rancher watermelon, which is also a very nice scent. Wave Child didn't do it. That's a nice scent too. None of these watermelon scents are doing it for me. I might have to go to like Bath and Body Works and say, what do you all have? Let's talk. I digress. Let's get back to Hydra. Notes here, mint and watermelon at the top, which are prominent, and they are what? So fresh and so clean. So fresh and so clean. It is so aquatic. It's like almost like the water, the spray. If you've been out on a high-powered boat and it's humming along the water, right? That motor's going and it's kicking up like that misty air, misty watery air in your face, and it has an accompanying smell, that kind of a scent. And it's a lake. It's not an ocean. We're not talking about like a salty kind of water. We're talking about fresh water, fresh watery mist. Wait a minute. I got it. Waterfall mist. Remember we were talking about steamed rainbow from DS and Durga a few videos back, a while back. That was like 2 months ago or something. That kind of misty water smell and feel that comes off of a waterfall. Imagine that with some nice watermelon. It isn't the sugary, sweet, aquatic watermelon that I'm looking for, but it's close. It's getting in that direction, and the mint is very nice in here. The mint is not as aggressive in here as it is in Vert Desir, as it is in Herba Fresca. It's a softer, easier, more tolerable mint for those of you that might be a little bit intimidated by that note. There are florals in the middle, jasmine and hyacinth, and then in the base, it says sea foam and white musk. I don't get like a salty sea foam though. It's like a freshwater feel. This is really nice and bright, absolutely unisex, but has enough feminine touches. I think that those of you that like feminine fragrances will be comfortable wearing this, and enough masculine tones that if you prefer masculine fragrances, you'll also feel comfortable wearing this. It is really sort of versatile that way. Super neat, and one that you would pull out when you wanted to feel crisp, put together. You got your white linen shirt on, your chino shorts, and maybe your espadrilles. Do we still wear espadrilles? I don't wear espadrilles. I don't even know why I said that, but I do wear flip-flops. I got plenty of flip-flops. Boom, Hydra. An oldie but a goodie that at one point people were having a really hard time finding. I think it's widely available now. It's certainly sitting out on the Sephora website. This is Bubble Bath by Maison Margiela. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, this is good. So, as Sephora describes it, soap, bubble accord, rose, super essence. I never even thought about this fragrance having any rose tones in it. It never occurred to me. I knew there was like a floral aspect, but I wouldn't have called it out as a rose. Soap, yes, like bubble bath soap, really fresh, clean bubble bath soap. But imagine like a creamy soap, almost like lotiony soaps that you would put in your bubble bath to make it feel luxurious and hydrate your skin. That kind of soap, not bar soap, friends. And then it points out white musk and a coconut milk accord. I find this to be soapy, like I said, in the lotiony sense, like it's almost like a creamy soapiness. I do get this lovely, sweet, light, fun coconut feel to this, and not coconut in sunscreen direction, which tends to have almost like a buttery smell to it. I mean, fresh coconut. Like think of like maybe even coconut shavings, and the coconut shavings have a little bit of a, I don't even know if this is making sense, but like an aquatic nature to them. And yes, this soft muskiness. This is, for me, a very feminine fragrance and nicely lasting. When I spray this on, if I remember correctly, I haven't worn this in a while. I think it's like a 6 to 8 hour-ish kind of a deal with nice projection. And it's a very sophisticated, clean and fresh smell. Okay. This is your ponytail is slicked back, friends. You got your ponytail tight, or it's in a bun because you want to come across like you have it all together. You really put some thought into that sort of clean girl aesthetic look, and you want to feel a little bit grown. Pop this on, get your little white collar shirt on, your crisp jeans, your little kitten heels. Boom, bubble bath. This is fantastic. It's described here on the thing as comforting clean accords. Yes, it does have some comforting aspects to it. This is a softer fragrance than any of the, and I mean soft, I'm sorry. In terms of the texture, like the feel of it, the creaminess of it, it does project. So I don't mean soft as in like soft wearing, but it's softer around the edges, maybe more filed down, more refined than any of the ones that I've mentioned so far, even more so than Vert Desir. This is a very sort of classy, clean, fresh fragrance for summer. Fan freaking tastic. So I couldn't have this video without talking about my personal signature scent that has been my signature scent for a while. Although I recently tried a fragrance that may dethrone it. I'll tell you all about that in another video. But this has been a ride or die for me for almost 15 years now, and this is still from J.Lo. This one is missing. There's like a little cheesy engagement ring that sits around the neck. I have several bottles of this open because I've gone through many bottles of it. So this one is open. I think this is like my maybe 4th bottle. And then there's another sort of smaller one that I take on travel that I ended up decanting into because one of the tops on these are a little bit wonky. I digress. I mean, you just can't go wrong with this. There's an Earl Grey tea note, so you need to like that. Although, in my opinion, that note blends so nicely alongside, there's that word blend again, excuse me, it coexists so nicely alongside an apple note, a rice note, some florals, a nice sandalwood in the base. This fragrance to me smells like happiness in a bottle. It smells like youthfulness. It reminds me, I have such great memories of this fragrance, such great memories. This is my most complimented fragrance by far. It's fresh, it's happy, it's got some edginess from the tea and a nice, like a dry sandalwood base that gives it substance. So it doesn't just stay all sort of light and airy and up in the atmosphere. It does stick to you nicely. It projects well. People love this. I douse myself in this when I wear it. People love it. I've gotten lots of compliments on this. I tell the story of going out one night. We were going out dancing, me and a friend of mine in New York. And we both stopped on the corner to cross the street. And this gentleman walked by and he literally like did a double take and turned around and was like, "You smell amazing." He might have been on a couple of substances because his eyes were like really super wide. But for whatever reason, at that moment, this fragrance touched his soul so much that he stopped in his tracks and came back to stare in my eyes and tell me that he loved this fragrance. This was before I was married. Anyway, we had a great time dancing and everyone loved this fragrance on me. It's like quintessential spring, but still feminine with the florals and has a little bit of heft from that sandalwood, as I mentioned, and a little bit of musk in the base. This is love you, love you. I know Jennifer Lopez is a little bit controversial right now with her crazy, like self-made movie situation. That's almost like an autobiography. I think she named herself Star in the movie. Is that correct? I heard that on another video. She calls herself Star. She plays herself in the movie, and it's the explanation of why she's had 4 failed marriages at this point. Bless her. Bless JLo. And I thank her for this fragrance. I, this spring, fell in love with this next scent. I do wish it was a little bit stronger, but that's okay because we're not always trying to like fill a room with fragrance. This is one I would not hesitate to wear to a work event and watch my colleagues say absolutely nothing about this again. I was a little sad I didn't get not a single compliment last week. I felt neglected. I felt invisible. I played myself a little sad violin. This is from Salt and Stone, and it's called Bergamot and Hinoki. So this is part of a trio of fragrances and shower gels. Is there also shampoo and conditioner? I don't know. I didn't look. But that are sold out on Sephora right now. I don't know where else they're sold or if this is an exclusive to Sephora. I have the bath gel to this, which I love. My husband and I are going through that. We are probably a third of the way done with that, and I will definitely re-up on that. The other 2 from this line were hit or miss. There's a black rose oud or oud rose something or other that is for me not that wearable of a scent. And then there is a Santal one that is it called Santal? That smells a little bit like Santal 33, that kind of a scent. Or is it Palo Santo? Anyway, y'all, keep me focused. Bergamot and Hinoki, my favorite of the 3. This is very, very light, and I do mean light and soft in the traditional sense, as in it wears very close to the skin, very like almost like a second skin type of deal with the projection. The longevity is pretty poor on these. You may get a few hours of wear and you have to re-up. And I think, are they eau de cologne concentrations? I don't know. Let's see here. It just says fragrance mist on Sephora. So I'm going to assume that the concentration level in here is pretty low. And that is okay. This may be one of those like spray out of the shower, spray your linen, spray your towels, spray your clothing, because you want some kind of scent that enhances the way that you smell, but isn't necessarily going to walk into the room before you for the day. Great for high heat, that type of thing. This whole big body mist, which is 100 mils, is $45 out on Sephora right now. And the keynotes that they list are bergamot, which has a citrusy type of smell to it. It's like not as, for me, not as tart as say a lime, but it doesn't have like the sweetness and juiciness of an orange either. It's like somewhere in between those kinds of scents. Orange blossom, I can't say that I pick up anything in the neighborhood of an orange blossom or any other kind of floral, maybe a little bit, I don't know. And then Hinoki, which is an interesting note to try to describe. Hinoki wood reminds me most of the smell you get when the wood in a spa, like a sauna, warms up. That type of woody scent. Think about of like a crossover between maybe like juniper and cedar wood. It's a fresh, crisp smell, but it's a hefty woody smell too as well. Anyway, this fragrance is very light and bright and fun and easygoing and fades quickly if this is something maybe you want to wear, like I said, out of the shower for the morning or right before you go to bed and you want to switch your fragrances and wear something different during the day. This might be a good option, but definitely a good choice for the summer. And I appreciate an elaborate bottle, and I also appreciate really simplistic, minimalistic, restrained, heavily edited aesthetics like this, where it's just the bottle, a black cap, and very simple lettering on the bottom. Like that's classy too. This is classy in a completely different way, right? This is a little bit more ornate, a little bit fancier, or a lot fancier rather. This is classy in a very simple way. Another love of mine as of, I think it was last spring or summer that I purchased this fragrance, and it's another Bond number 9. I'm so sorry. I try not to do more than one from a house in a video. You're not going to line up like this, so you get some variety. I didn't even realize that I had both of these in here. Well, let's talk about Gold Coast in this cutesy holographic, I was going to say video. This is not a video. This is a bottle. For those of you that don't know, these bottles have what looks like a token, a New York City subway token. So that's what these little things are. They're the old school New York City tokens that you would use to get on the subway. Now you don't use those. Now you can use a card or your phone or I don't know what other kinds of, I can't keep up with the technology. Don't go buying these on the Bond number 9 website, friends, unless you just have money like that. Like who am I to tell you that you can't drop, what is it, 420 or 40? How much are you? Hold on a minute. $460. Ay, Dios mío, for the retail 100 ml bottle of this. If you got it like that and that's no big deal, who am I to tell you how to spend your money? Go girl or guy, or whoever you are, go get your fragrance. But for me, I purchased these mostly on Joma Shop or other discount sites. Again, I will link all of these below. And this one here, I think I paid like high hundreds, maybe it was 160 to 175, somewhere in there for the full bottle. This is a surprise beauty for me. The notes that are featured on the Bond Number 9 website that stand out to me include a rose essence. There's definitely a light, watery, aquatic rose nature to this. Watermelon. I do pick up like an aquatic smelling watermelon lightly. I think the watermelon in Hydra is more pronounced for me than this one. And the watermelon in Wave Child, that's new from room 1015, is even more sugary and pronounced. That one's a little bit more Jolly Rancher-ish than I was hoping for, but you do pick it up in there. Here, it's like a nice accompaniment, the watermelon, to these beautiful florals. A cedarwood essence, which is this nice crisp woodiness in the base. Vanilla and musk. I can't say I pick up a whole lot of vanilla, definitely some muskiness. And then there's lychee and red apple. So primarily, this is a light floral, like pink floral. Even though peony is not listed as a note, I get something in the peony direction, maybe something in that fantasy orchid note direction, the rose, the watermelon, lychee. So bright, fresh florals and almost like watery fruitiness. Not a deep, sweet, thick, syrupy fruitiness like you may get in other fragrances. A very light, summery, almost like the smell that wafts off of a melon salad in the summer. Like if you put watermelon and honeydew and cantaloupe and maybe some berries, perhaps even cucumbers, all in a salad together. That sort of light, watery, aquatic, not the vegetal part, but like a fruity aquatic smell in here. Very light wearing in terms of like the thickness of the fragrance, but strong projection. This one does project off of you. This one lasts long. For the most part, I get like a full day's, work wear, which is for me long. Like if I spray in the morning at 7 or 8 and it's still there by dinner time 5, I'm very happy with that. I find that to be super long lasting for me. I don't know why people need fragrances to last 24 hours. Where are y'all going that you need a fragrance to go 24 hours? I'll wait. Well, you tell us in the comments. Hopefully you're not wearing anything that long. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you have a super duper long flight somewhere and you want to stay fresh and clean for that amount of time because you can't bathe. I don't know, y'all. I digress. This is a good one. I got one more. If you're still there, can you put a pink star or heart in the comments so we know you are still with us? Hanging tough. So I just pulled this next one off of the trays back here because I haven't had a chance to give it a full proper wear. These are my new fragrances that I'm trying out. Yes, I'm double traying it, like double fisting. I'm double traying it. So this is called Wildbloom Vert from Banana Republic. So I happened to find this fragrance on Joma Shop at some ridiculously low price. I want to say it was like in the $30 to $40 range for this full bottle. And I think this is 100 mils. Are you 100 mils? Yeah. But if you can't find it on Joma Shop, it's available on So Avant-Garde. The full bottle retails for $83, which I think is, look, okay, in today's fragrance world where prices have just continued to creep up, $83 for a full bottle of fragrance seems... It seems like a bargain. Call me crazy, but yeah. So as you can see, this is still pretty full because I haven't had a chance to really wear it, but I've spritzed it here and there. And I have to tell you, this is lovely and clean and crisp for summer. It's like a combination of a really soft greenness. So the greenness in Highline is a little bit more pronounced because it's that green grass type of smell, right? That's like the dominant feature of this. This is a very subdued green. And it doesn't get, like some greens can get really deep into vegetal direction, or it can get really deep into like a hay sort of combo, like greenness and hay and dusty, kind of like you get in like Safari from Ralph Lauren. It isn't that kind of greenness. It's a very delicate greenness. And I love that it's accompanied by this purpleness from violets. Well, it says green violet leaves, but I do get this sort of like purpley violet, maybe even, perhaps even like irisy kind of sort of. There's a sort of a tiny bit of a lipsticky purpley vibe in the fragrance. Other notes that are featured: crisp pear. There is a softness, like a soft, delicate, watery fruitiness. Apple, peach blossom. I don't get peach blossom. I'm not a huge fan of peach, and I'm glad that that doesn't stand out. Gardenia, magnolia. And then there's woodiness and muskiness in the base, really lightly. But overall, this is a very thin fragrance in terms of the olfactory experience. And it works on days when you want to have a linear, predictable scent that is soft, inoffensive, but has a little bit of edge to it. So this doesn't smell perfumey like perfume counter perfume. It's got an edginess to it from the green aspects combined with that sort of lipstick and floral nature to it. All of that together with a very sort of light, woody foundation to the fragrance. Really interesting, different, doesn't smell like a whole lot out there on the market, and is demure in the sense that it sort of peekaboos off of you. The few times that I've worn it, and I can tell you about that, it peekaboos off of you versus being a competing player in your space. It doesn't take over your scent bubble. It's like the good angel that's just sitting on your shoulder, helping you smell good but unique without being a prominent player. It's a good wingman. It's a good fragrance wingman for the day. Wildbloom Vert, another one that I would not hesitate to wear to work and then sit there all desperate waiting for attention and compliments while no one gives me any. Anywho, those are the 10 that I wanted to share with you. I have many, many more in my collection that I would love to share, but you know I like to make a long video, y'all, and so I'm sticking to 10. Tell us in the comments what your favorite So Fresh and So Clean fragrances are. And I will say I tried purposefully not to focus on citrus fragrances because I have a citrus video coming up, even though there are some citrus aspects to some of the ones that I talked about here. So I wanted to separate those two out. I have many more videos coming up for you, friends, including all of the usual summer suspects that you all weighed in on my community page. And I have some house reviews. I think I'm going to kick that off with Xerjoff. That won the poll that I put in my community tab a few weeks ago. You all weighed in and weighed in heavy, and Xerjoff was the winner, the slight winner over another house. And we'll get into that in that video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Take care, friends.